Pilgrims, very, very good Wednesday morning to you. Hump day, middle of the week, Wednesday morning here in the Spice Isle. And thank you very much for joining us wherever you are this morning. I got to tell you, man, I'm sitting here this morning, yes, with a smile on my face. And the reason being, I am so proud. So proud of myself. Remember yesterday I told you that, for the past couple of days I've slipped a little bit and gone back to drinking coffee. Well, I am so delighted this morning that I am back to cinnamon tea in my morning cup. Yeah. I tell you what even has me smiling broader is the fact that, hold on, just let me give you a quick glimpse here. There, she's early. She's not going to be on the air until maybe about 9:30, eh? But take a look. She's already here. Take a look at that. Look at that. Good morning to you, Sharon. How are you? We'll talk in just a wee bit. But first of all, folks, let's get down to brass tacks on our good governance agenda. Remember yesterday we said from here on in, we're going to be trying to see what we could do to bring about or to ensure good governance in this country. Well, Monday and again yesterday, two separate occasions, I had two different people sitting in that chair where Sharon is sitting. They just, dropped by to say hi, see how I was doing and stuff like that. And it was very interesting, not the fact that we were talking about current affairs in this country, but what I found very interesting is that both of them, without being solicited, were asking the question, what happened to the NDC? They're still around? We're not hearing anything about the NDC. Well, irony reigns again. Last night, I received a piece from Claudette Joseph. I think it's weekly I think it's weekly. She does a piece called The NDC Heartbeat, and I'm going to be sharing that with you this morning. This edition is captioned 1 year later, grade F. Okay? She's referring to the performance of the current administration. Then, of course, we have your national report so that you can pounce or whatever, all with the aim of creating good governance in this country. No maliciousness, just because you want to see us do better, all right? And then, of course, we're going to be saying hi to Auntie I don't know what's in here, but she didn't walk in here empty-handed. I haven't a clue what's in there, but I'll be finding out sooner or later. So let's get down to business here this morning. Now, let me start with the column or the article or the opinion piece from NDC Heartbeat. It's captioned 1 year later, grade F. After a lengthy campaign during which the incumbent shamelessly used state resources to buy votes, Grenadians went to the polls on March 13th, 2018. As if misusing state resources were not enough, they made many promises that they never intended to keep. Those promises included that we were soon to reap the rewards of our shared sacrifice as the austerity measures of the structural adjustment program came to an end, that the issue of pension and gratuity had been resolved, and public officers could now rest comfortably in their retirement, that within months the national health insurance would be in place, giving coverage to every Grenadian, that we have found oil, and that meant plenty money. Remember that? All of those promises have since been exposed as bare tomfoolery. In 2014, government encouraged us to embrace the SAP, that's the Structural Adjustment Program, for 3 years as part of the shared sacrifice to help stabilize the economy. The program included a request for a 50% haircut from creditors, the imposition of a wage freeze in the public sector, and over 30 new and increased taxes. 6 years on, and all the austerity measures remain in place. There has been no reporting on the outcome of the requested haircut. Instead, last week, the Prime Minister told the media that government's lawyers are negotiating with the creditors' lawyers for a waiver of interest and penalties on our debts. Penalties only accrue on debts that are not serviced. Is it the case that government caused us to sacrifice and suffer for 6 years and is still not paying our debts? Why is it that Mitchell is constantly refusing to tell us the amount of the national debt? Is it because it is much worse than when the SAP started? Between 2008 and 2011, the NDC did much work on the NHI. Between 2013 and 2016, nothing was done to build on that work. With an election approaching in early 2017, Emmeline Peer promised that the NHI would be in place by June of 2017. Nothing happened. And by elections, there was another promise that things were in place to roll out the NHI soon after the elections. To date, nothing has happened. Meanwhile, our hospitals and healthcare services are the most deplorable they have ever been, and morale among healthcare workers is at an all-time low. To add insult to injury, the PM went on an international stage and called doctors, nurses, and other healthcare workers thieves and incompetents. Perhaps the most egregious failure of the past year is the way government is mishandling the pension and gratuity matter. After tricking the union leaders into signing a worthless MOU mere days before the elections, NNP reneged on its promises. They conned the union leaders, and when public servants exercised their legal right to strike, Heartless Mitchell and his lady friend, permanent secretary, docked salaries in the Christmas season. His various mouthpieces then challenged public servants to take the matter to court if they're bad. The declaration of war on teachers and public officers is simply astounding. Rather than try to find some common ground, the administration has used the teachers' work-to-rule protest as an opportunity to infuse political insularity into the school system and into sports. There's a good reason why public workers are mocked and challenged to take the matter to court. It is that there are hardly any functioning courts. May 2019 will be 1 year since the complete collapse of the judicial system. With the court system collapsed, we do not have a functioning government. Mitchell, as Minister of Finance, has refused to allocate money to get this arm of government functioning so that the people can have access to justice. Public protests by the lawyers did not move the government to act. This complete lack of regard for the justice system was one of the reasons for the miserable failure of the CCJ bill last November. Another was government's arrogant refusal to build consensus around the bill by paying heed to the views of the NDC, the Grenada Bar Association, and the TUC. Because of Mitchell's arrogance, Grenadians could not embrace this regional institution. Since elections, there has been silence on oil and gas. We expect a similar promise to be made come election 2023. The NDC cautions all Grenadians that there will be no oil and gas money as long as Mitchell and Bowen remain in charge. They already gave away all of our oil and gas resources by an unfair agreement with GPG on the 31st of March, 2008. And they have reversed all of the efforts the NDC made between 2008 and 2012 to secure a better deal. Mitchell is well known for victimizing and marginalizing his opponents. However, one of the more troubling developments in the last year is the almost total control exerted over the media. With a collapsed judicial system and a media under siege, the people of Grenada must be aware that their most basic and fundamental rights and freedoms are under attack. The administration is unable to inspire and motivate workers so that the level of implementation of government projects is less than 50%. Most projects are behind schedule as excessive bureaucracy, party hacks passing off as technical personnel, and low morale hamper national development. Despite all of the outlandish promises, poverty is on the rise, and the youth are becoming more hopeless as opportunities become fewer. In the last budget, Mitchell admitted that 40% of Imani trainees have not completed their training. Many remain at home with no placement. Keep moving and vote competence were just empty campaign slogans. Indeed, the incompetence among this bunch has caused a dysfunctional government. By now, the reality must have set in that running a glitzy campaign is quite different from running a successful government, because the failures of the past year are plain for all to see. Pilgrims, there you have it. That is a piece which we published last night. I've seen it up on other sites as well. The NDC Heartbeat, their most recent edition, which came out sometime yesterday. Do you know, I mean, I'm sure that a lot of you who've been listening to the last few minutes here can identify with what you've just been hearing. But folks, let's be honest. It's one thing to sit in the corner and go. Something else to do something about it. And as I mentioned, Monday and Tuesday of this week, uninvited, I have had people sitting in this chair next to me here asking, so what are these guys doing? What are these guys doing? Apart from pieces like what I just read to you, haven't been hearing anything. And that is even scarier for the Grenadian people who are, their quest is good governance, right? Well, they ain't seeing it happen. And it seems like the alternative out there is not being much of an alternative. We got to discuss this. We got to discuss this. I almost forgot. Let me go to social media and say good morning. I know one person I'm not going to be seeing on social media this morning, and that's Sharon, because Sharon is sitting here in person, in the flesh. Peter Bishop, Peter Bishop, Long Island, Brooklyn, Virginia, and this morning he's in Washington. Nobody allows them to stay anywhere for too long. Pedro, good morning, sir. Horace Shepherd Hall. I haven't seen that one before. Hello there, Horace. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. John saying good morning, George, and the world from dependency number 1, Kayaku. Yeah. Bernard Gilbert saying good morning. Wendy Monroe. Hello, sir. Great to hear you. Great to hear you too, Wendy. Lincoln Roberts. Hello there, Linky. Linky is saying another beautiful day the Lord has made. Amen, bro. In spite of what you see or feel, stay with God. He will bring you peace. Just stay with God. Have an awesome day, everyone. Much love always. God, boy, what would we do without you and your inspirational pieces here every morning? Thanks a lot, my friend. Thanks a lot. You know the challenges, and he's helped you through, hasn't he? He ain't done with you yet. Okay, Linky. Kipling Francis is saying good morning to everyone, and of course sending God's blessings as well. Fitzroy James is saying good morning. Promises the only thing the majority of Grenadians understand. 15 seats twice, says Fitzroy. Yeah, Fitzy, you're becoming as cynical as some of the others, eh? But that's understandable, sir. Peter Bishop says, the people of Grenada love it, just like it is. I shed no tear. Yeah. You know, Pedro, as I was reading that piece a little while ago, it went through my mind, you know. Hey, the people, to a large extent, and I stress that to a large extent, the people created that environment. They went to the ballot box, even though there's a lot of concern out there, not just from the people here, but from the CARICOM Observer Mission, the OAS Observer Mission, about the legitimacy of the vote. So that's why I have to be cautious when I say, you know, the people, put them there. Lydia James was saying good morning. So is Glenn Andrew Mark and Ryan Jabon and John is saying here, Sharon, dependency number one, just because of population. You'll have to deal with that when you get on, Sharon. Ashton Fletcher is saying good morning and greetings from Louisville. Hello, Louisville, Kentucky. And Ryan says, political punch drunk syndrome in Grenada, George. Yeah. Okay. Folks, let me take a break here and then bring you your favorite, the National Report. Okay? How about that?
Start the stride to a healthy lifestyle at the 2019 annual Pump It Up Family Fun Walk. There'll be more fun, more smiles, and more prizes for families and friends. Join us in Carriacou on April 7th at 4 p.m. as we walk from the Harveyvale playing field to the Hillsborough tennis courts, and in Grenada on April 28th at 4 p.m. from the Montrouge playing field to the National Cricket Stadium. Packages cost $20 per person for up to 2 individuals and $15 per person for groups of 3 or more. Come out in your numbers to help us raise funds towards re-establishing the Carlton Home.
Welcome home.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company, tell your friends, tell your family. We cover householders comprehensive, motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability, and wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
Government awards 6 island scholarships to top TAMCC performers. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Tuesday, March 19th, I am Leslie Ann Johnson. Government has awarded 6 island scholarships to the top performers at the Cape and Associate degree levels at the T.A. Marisho Community College, following recommendations by the National Award Selection Committee. Those awarded are Tamara Bubb for Natural Sciences, Toya Amede, Natural Sciences, Sydney Walker, Social Sciences, Trevon St. Bernard, Humanities, Tara Thomas, TVET, and Jarrell Stewart, Information Technology. The value of each scholarship award is approximately $65,000 per year per student, which means each student will receive financial support of up to at least $195,000 over the course of their studies. During the weekly post-cabinet briefing on Tuesday, Senator Simon Steele, Minister for Climate Resilience, the Environment, Forestry, Fisheries, Disaster Management and Information, said the students will all be bonded and must adhere to the terms of the bonds.
Grenada expends many tens of millions of dollars, in the region of $40 to $50 million per year, on scholarships to our students. And these resources, it's actually taxpayers' money, it's the government money, taxpayers' money that is contributing to these scholarships. And it's important for the individual students to recognize the national sacrifice that is made to afford them the opportunities to continue their studies and the need for them to give back in terms of national service, in terms of serving their bond. And together with St. George's University, we're actually reviewing once again the bond contract to see how that could be further strengthened to ensure that there is solid enforcement of that bond.
Making specific reference to medical graduates, where he says tens of millions of dollars are spent on training doctors and nurses, Senator Steele says working with the St. George's University, there will be special focus on these scholarship awardees who have not fulfilled the terms of their bonds and who are employed with the university.
We'll be working with SGU to identify those individuals and to ensure that service is provided. They can continue working in their employ at St. George's University, but they need to carve out time to come back and work within our healthcare system throughout the course of their working week, their working month, to fulfill the terms of that bond. And in addition to that, those graduates who have served their bond will be asking for a voluntary program where those medical students can offer their service on a voluntary basis.
These 6 Island Scholarship awardees announced on Tuesday are in addition to the 25 medical scholarship awards, each valued at $700,000, a total of $17.5 million invested in new doctors. Some of the challenges faced by the Grenville Secondary School regarding sanitation are currently being resolved with the hope of resuming normal school day activities on Thursday, March 21st. Chief Education Officer Mr. David Andrew provided more information on the current situation, including special instructions for the students regarding Wednesday's Eastern Zonal Games. Details from Annette Moore.
Repairs to the Grenville Secondary School's soakaway facility are currently in progress as the Ministry of Education collaborates with the Ministry of Works to ensure proper health and safety standards at the school.
Within the last few weeks, quite a number of things have happened, in fact. Some broken pipes were repaired. The chambers have been cleaned and cleared of all its contents. And today, I think, not just today, but over the weekend, they started working on changing some pipes. The pipes that fed into the soakaway system, we understand, were smaller ones or bigger ones into a smaller pipe, which created a backlog. And so structurally, they needed to change that. In doing that, they encountered some huge concrete slabs, we understand, that made it difficult to progress with the work. Consequently, it rendered some sections of the washroom facility, the females' washroom facility, and the teachers' facility inoperable. And as a result, we've had to send students home yesterday. We were not aware of this before, so we couldn't have avoided that. We do regret that, but we've had to send them home. And as we speak, work is continuing on the site.
Given the current situation, Andrew noted a change in the arrangements regarding students reporting to school prior to the Eastern Zonal Games on Wednesday.
We advise that given that tomorrow is the Eastern Zonal meet, we ask that students of the Grenville Secondary School report directly to Progress Park. So don't go to the school. We are allowing that time for the workmen to expedite the works there so that we can have a resumption of school on Thursday.
The Chief Education Officer also had some words of assurance for parents, teachers, and the public.
We are saddened at the fact that we have to lose instructional time. That's something we guard very dearly. And it bleeds our heart when we have to close school for any reason, really. But the safety and well-being of our students, the gases, the fumes, they could be equally dangerous. And we are caught between a hard place and a rock.
The Chief Education Officer emphasized that the ministry has been monitoring the situation to ensure that neither students nor teachers are adversely affected by the situation.
We want to assure parents and the general public that we are very concerned about student safety and the well-being of all teachers and students on each of our school plants. And so in keeping with best safety practices, we've had to make some of these decisions. And we're also concerned about instruction and contact time between teachers and students. We know that our teachers are going to do all they can to make up for lost time, lost instructional time. And from previous discussions with teachers there when we had the issues the week before, teachers assured me that they were giving additional work through online means because teachers are very concerned about instructional time too. And we appreciate all of that. So we beg your patience as we work with the Ministry of Works and our technical support to resolve this problem.
For the National Report, I'm Annette Moore.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
This Wednesday, March 20th, we head to the Progress Park for the Eastern Zonal Meet of the National Secondary School Games. Come see powerhouses: St. David's Catholic Secondary, St. Andrew's Anglican Secondary, St. Joseph's Convent Grenville, Grenville Secondary, and the Grenada Christian Academy. So this Wednesday, 20th March, Progress Park, and then on Friday, 22nd March, we head to the Hillsborough playing field for the Northern Zone, which features Hillsborough Secondary and Bishop's College. Admission to all these games absolutely free. Our nation's children still have a dream. The opportunity will shape their destiny. Your games, your future. Progress Park this Wednesday.
Continuing the news, Climate Resilience Minister Senator Simon Steele says government anticipates a successful national secondary school games on April 5th. This is despite reports that some principals and teachers are encouraging students not to participate in the zonal games. During the weekly post-cabinet briefing on Tuesday, Senator Steele said government is pleased with the successful staging of the Western Games in Guelph last week and is hopeful that our schools registered for the Eastern Zone will participate. He said good sense must prevail amidst the current impasse regarding gratuity and work to rule.
We look forward to the continued successes of these zonal games. We look forward to what will take place tomorrow, on Thursday and Friday, and then in the finals on the 5th of April, where we can see our young men and women, our students, our children performing to the best of their ability with the support of the ministry, with the support of principals, with the support of teachers and parents. This is about our children.
Senator Steele stressed that enhancing the future of the students must be foremost in the minds of all.
We're encouraged by the level of participation from some principals, some teachers at the Western Games, and we anticipate that that will continue with the Eastern and the Carriacou Games. All I can say at this time is that we call upon the better judgment of those principals who aren't cooperating thus far, and just reinforce the message that we need to consider what is in the best interest of our children and our students at all times.
Residents of St. John can now look forward to receiving first-hand assistance from officers in the Ministry of Social Development, Housing and Community Empowerment following the opening of its St. John sub-office. A ceremony was held on Tuesday to mark the occasion. Delroy Louison has details.
The parish of St. John now has a social development sub-office. The Ministry of Social Development, Housing and Community Empowerment hosted a special ceremony on St. Peter's Street in Guelph on Tuesday to officially open the sub-office, which will serve both St. John and St. Mark. The opening of the St. John sub-office holds special significance, coming on the observance of World Social Work Day 2019. Tuesday's ceremony was attended by the Minister for Social Development, Housing and Community Empowerment, the Honorable Delma Thomas, Parliamentary Representative for St. John, the Honorable Alvin Dabrio, Parliamentary Representative for St. Mark, Dr. the Honorable Clarice Modeste Kerwin, Acting Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Social Development, Housing and Community Empowerment, Mrs. Veronica Charles, other members of staff of the ministry, and community members. Residents of St. John have been clamoring for an office which will cater to the needs of the poor and vulnerable and those being affected by abuse and other social ills. At the ceremony, the ministry seized the opportunity to award women making outstanding contributions in non-traditional fields of work across the country. since this formed part of the theme for International Women's Day 2019, which was observed on March 8th. Rhonda Campbell was awarded for her contribution as a draftswoman, Wendy Lett, a technician at the Grenada Electricity Company, GRENLEC, Reese Sam, Susan Jones Benjamin, and Toya Francis, all of whom are from Guave, were awarded for their contribution to clothing and accessory designing, dance, and VACO respectively. Two other women awarded were Festina Clement of Carriacou and Diane Donna Alexis of St. Patrick for their contribution to the fishing industry. The Grenada Network of Rural Women Producers also received an award for its support to agriculture and agribusiness. The awardees also received gift baskets compliments George F. Huggins and Company Limited. Following the ceremony, the ribbon was cut and persons got an opportunity to tour the facility. For the National Report, I'm Delroy Louzan.
And that's the National Report. I'm Leslie Ann Johnson.
Hey, Lynn.
Hey, neighbor.
Here's the bill I asked you to pay for me.
How did you get your electricity bill to be so low?
For one, we size our transformers just for what we need. And we unplug transformers, chargers, and other devices when they're not in use. We also replaced our light bulbs with LEDs.
They burn less energy, right?
Much less. I even replaced the seal on my refrigerator door to keep the cold air in.
And GRENLEC is always advising us not to open the fridge too often.
That's right. And my family washes and irons in bulk.
With fuel prices changing all the time, how do you know if it is working?
We pay attention to the usage history table. Over time, our average usage has decreased.
So while Grenada can't control fuel prices, I can conserve energy and save money.
GRENLEC, energizing our Grenada.
Together with you, our customers, we energize our community.
Together with you, we energize our economy.
We are working together to give our nation a better tomorrow.
With you, we energize our future. Together, we energize our nation.
Thank you for partnering with us as we energize our Spice Island.
GRENLEC, energizing our Grenada.
With free island-wide delivery, Hubbard's Building Supplies and Lumber Departments continue to provide the best quality lumber, steel, tiles, plumbing materials, electrical and general hardware supplies at competitive prices. We continually consult with builders, homeowners and contractors to improve product range and services. Enjoy discounts where applicable, including the use of credit and debit cards. At Hubbard's Building Supplies, Grandance and Lumber Department, Caranage, we offer quality service, affordable prices, giving you the convenient, reliable, free island-wide delivery. Call 440-2087 for all your home improvement and building solutions.
Alrighty, folks, it's now, let's see here, 20 minutes away from 10 o'clock. Now, you didn't have as many comments on the report this morning as I thought you might, but I'm just going to share them with you. John out there in Carriacou says, according to the GIS, continual success of the school games. So says John. Glenn Andrew Mark says, shame on all of you ministers. Huh? And Peter Bishop says, Minister, leave the teachers alone. All you ain't tired, bash them. So says Peter, and I'm sure that's just the way he said it. Wayne Peters is also saying good morning from Miami. Anthony DeRick says, good morning, George. Just back from Grenada, and while I was there, I was wondering how the people could afford the ridiculous prices of foodstuff in the supermarkets. Even the cost of a small piece of cake had me shaking in my head. Yeah, well, but you know, John, Anthony, somehow we managed to get by. We managed to get by. Then John says here, why are there so many acting this, acting that positions? Is it so that they can be removed easily without pensions, etc.? Sharon's nodding. By the way, speaking about Sharon, I gotta tell you, Pilgrims, I'm gonna start by asking your forgiveness. A little while ago, I showed you that my friend Sharon had brought something, and I figured some sort of breakfast, okay? So I couldn't wait to go into the GIS report so that I could dig in and see what she had. When I opened it up, ackee and swordfish. Now, this thing, this little bowl, dish, whatever, was filled with ackee and swordfish. But as you can see now, it has somehow mysteriously disappeared. I'm sorry. I mean, you know, you guys are such dear friends, and I'm glad that Margaret is not with us this morning. Margaret sent a note saying that she had an appointment, so she's not going to be able to make it. I'm glad she's not here, though, because she would be really ticked off if I didn't share my ackee and swordfish. Anyhow, just forgive me. Next time. Next time. Sharon! Good morning, girl. How you doing?
I am good.
By the way, Lincoln is saying, good morning, sis.
Morning.
Lincoln, she's saying, morning. You're good. Sharon, thank you very much, girl. So, you made some of this thing for a mutual friend, Carla.
Yes.
And decided to share some with Georgie Porgy.
All right.
You're such a sweetheart, girl. God bless you. God bless you.
Thank you.
Sharon, while they were watching the GIS report, you know, we were talking about a number of different things here. And I said that I hope you would repeat some of them. So why don't you?
Right, we are talking about good governance.
Yes.
And the fact that NDC seemed to have disappeared and all this. Now, Lincoln is one that said to me some weeks ago, there is so much the opposition could do that you don't need money for. So you can't just say, oh, we're not in government. I didn't live in Grenada during the revolution, but I understand they had a program, a cleanup program. I don't know if it was just in a specific area or if it was a whole island thing. But you organize the people and you come out and clean up. When you drive past sometimes and you look at Grenada, you wonder why we have so much garbage. People drive by and they throw their stuff out the window. You know, and as I mentioned to you, I was driving the other day and somebody threw something out the window and I honked my horn and they put their finger up at me. Now, there should be a charge. You know, a couple of years ago I was going to Livera and a bus was coming the opposite way and somebody threw a bottle from the bus and it hit me in my temple and I passed out. Fortunately, somebody else was in the vehicle and had to grab the wheel from me. I was out. When I came around, there was this police officer and some other people gathered around me. It was an old woman. She said that the wind pulled a bottle from her. It was a beer bottle. And so many times, you don't know who you will hurt when you do things like that. You know? And basically, that's it. That they could organize. NDC, if you're listening, whoever it is, you can organize groups. I do not belong to any political party. I support people who are doing the right thing.
Exactly.
And if I support you and you're doing crap, everybody, Peter Bishop would tell you, Sharon was the biggest supporter of NNP. They do crap, I withdraw my support, and that is my right, and that is the right of all of us. You don't have to support a political party because they're giving you some money or because they're doing something for you or your family. You have to have a conscience and support what is right. And if they're doing something right, I will be the first person to applaud them.
Yeah.
Now, when I was the coordinator for Pitamathnik Affairs, I remember the day that Dr. Mitchell came up there and asked me to do that. And when the day they had the official opening and I became the coordinator for Pitamathnik Affairs, I tell him, you might be sorry that you ask me, because I will not do anything for party. In Pitamathnik, we do for the island. And yes, John, I understand when you say number one, dependency number one because of population. It's not because of beauty, it's not because of friendliness, because you cannot touch Pitamathnik for that. But because of population, Carriacou is number one and Pitamathnik is number two. Dependency. But one of the things I did, everybody had to be involved in on the island, because we didn't get much from government. When we had to build the roads, I had a meeting in the school. We came together, we fundraised, we asked Pitamathnikans who didn't live on the island to help us because we need a road going to the church. And everybody came out. One Sunday we had mass, and after mass everybody came out. The women cooked, some of the guys made fish broth and all kind of thing, because it was a lot of us. And we built a road. So that is why when NNP tried to take credit for that road, I had to get on the platform and put them down, because they don't know how that road was built. It was built by the people of Pitamathnik. And whenever you have an event in Pitamathnik, it doesn't matter who, if it's NNP or NDC or if it's an independent person, everybody come out and support. So if we could do it in that little island, you think it can't be done elsewhere? If it's community by community, it can be done.
You know, Sharon, that is the solution. I find that this country has just become far too polarized. You're either this or that.
Mm-hmm.
Totally forgetting about Grenada.
And you know, it's the politicians that do that.
Of course.
Let me give you an example. In March last year, the representative for Carriacou came up to Pitamathnik. And when she saw me in the crowd and she saw people talking to me, and I lambasted her on the platform the night after for that, she's trying to tell Pitamathnik people not to speak to me. Me, I born there, my neighbor stringberry under a backwab tree in Kabiye. And they want to tell my cousins not to talk to me? She don't know where she come from. I know where I come from. Generations and generations of Pitamathnik. And we don't like that. For a moment, yes, people stunned. I remember I was talking to one of my cousins who she actually called him and warned him. That don't work up there. And they try to play us against each other. It don't work. It might work for 2 days. you know, but we have what you call a genuine love for each other. And we do almost anything. Anything they want, who you think they call? Cousin Sharon. Cousin Sharon, can you do this? Can you do that? And I do it. I don't care who you support politically. And that's what we have to do, because at the end of the day, we are Grenadians. And forget the politicians. They cuss each other and they drink together. So.
You know something that always fascinated me? I used to spend an awful lot of time in Parliament down at the Trade Center doing the parliamentary broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys would stand up in Parliament before the cameras and they would annihilate each other. I mean, tear each other apart. And then they walk out of Parliament in the parking lot and them guys hugging up each other. And I thought to myself, that is so hypocritical.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you put on this show in front of the people who are paying your salary to serve, and then you go to the parking lot and it's something totally different.
Yeah, and then the sad thing is the effect it have on the people. They're pitting brother against brother, and you know, family against each other, and all this nonsense. And they talking and laughing, and you they wanting to kill people for them.
Yeah. All right, there's some comments here on Facebook. First of all, John is cautioning me about my salt intake. John, caution her.
It wasn't salty.
It wasn't. It was very nice. Cheryl, hello there, Cheryl. Saying good morning, George Grant. Spring is about to start. Well, good for you. Spring is about to start.
Spring was sprung.
Spring has sprung. Yeah. I'll confess to you, it was not my favorite time of the year when I lived in Canada. Anyhow, Kipling Francis says, after listening to some of the other programs in Grenada, you and your program are doing such a great job of saving us the embarrassment of being judged the most backward in the Caribbean. You're very kind, Kipling. Cheryl also says, Yolan Bain Hosford does a good job cleaning up St. Andrews. And Cheryl, if that's the case, hey, congratulations. I tip my hat to Yolan. My parish, you know, I grew up in La Baie. And then Claudette says, that is so true. The person could pass put and never come through. Do you understand that? The person could pass, P-A-S-S, put, P-U-T, and never come through. Claudette, I'm sorry, we don't understand what you're saying. And then John says, being a non-Grenadian, I find it so hard to stay quiet in fear of victimization. Yeah, John, I know, and you're not alone. A lot of people who even Grenadians, man, want to talk, but they got to watch what they say these days. Not a shame. Ain't that a shame? That's what we come to. All right, Sharon. Anything else, my friend?
That's it.
That's it? Boy, you're brief this morning. Well. You and I are both victims of diabetes.
Yeah.
Okay. And you were telling, hey, guess what? Margaret has just, yeah, she went to an appointment, sent a note saying she was going to an appointment. Well, Maggie Bay, where's my empty bowl? Maggie, let me tell you what you missed, girl. Sharon brought some ackee and saltfish this morning, and tasted awful. It's the worst food I've ever eaten in my life. So bad. Take a look.
Got rid of it.
I had to get rid of it. Are you kidding? Do you think I'm going to keep that awful thing? No. So there you go. Maggie is probably going, This girl loves her food too bad. She's saying hi, Sharon.
Hi.
Ryan says, people's participation in project implementation is imperative for sustainable community development. Way to go, role model, Petty Martinique. Politicians, be warned. Ryan is right about that.
Yeah.
People's participation.
That is something I said to you I forgot. The disaster preparedness plan. Peter Martinic had a disaster preparedness plan when I was coordinator for Peter Martinic Affairs, long before Grenada had a plan. I don't even know if Grenada's plan was implemented yet. But we sat down, we had a meeting and we sat down. We wanted to find out who has chainsaws, who has what, and we give people responsibilities based on what they could do. Michael Caesar, who was one of the people who made my life difficult, he could talk people into anything. So I used him and put him in charge of shelter management, because he could get people to do stuff. And we organized ourselves down to a T. And would you believe that one of the supporters of Nimrod actually went to him and said, Sharon turned against the government. She given Michael Caesar and those other people who opposed them responsibility. Well, the reality is Peter Martinic was so prepared that a storm was coming, and Lou Smith called me to find out if we know that a storm is coming. And when I tell him what we're doing, he could not believe. We had people responsible for the old people, people responsible for children. And we organized and got the Catholic Church to give us the use of the church. Originally, the church itself was not a shelter. But when I point out to them that the majority of the people are Catholics and where they expect them to go, they gave us permission to use the church, and the church was upgraded. I was able to get, I don't know if you know of Southcom, the U.S. Southern Command.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
To upgrade the PA system and everything.
Yeah.
Because it's a shelter, not just a church, but a hurricane shelter. And that's how I left Peter Martinic. When I left Peter Martinic, it was so organized. You know, and it doesn't take much. It just takes heart and love.
Yeah, and the results, phenomenal. You know, because you have a loving community, people begin to appreciate each other and start to see the good. All right, Sharon, almost time to hightail it out of here. Let me see something here. Claudette Miller Ando is trying to explain what she meant, and I still don't get it. Anyhow, John says, was Peter Martinic involved in the tsunami exercise this week? Do you know?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, okay. And
there should have been, because I was instrumental in getting them the most up-to-date EOC, that's the Emergency Operations Center, and it's in Peter Martinic, state-of-the-art computers and everything. So, and there's actually somebody responsible for disaster preparedness now, based on the island. So they should have.
Okay. Sharon, a little while ago I started talking to you about diabetes. And you were telling me one of the ways you try to keep yours in check. I just want you to repeat that for the benefit of others out there.
Right. Well, you know, cinnamon is very good to keep your blood sugar level down. And last week I mentioned the guayamba. That's the one with the fine leaves, and under the stem of the leaf is little seeds. Well, I use a combination of moringa, the guayamba and cinnamon. I just put them in. I don't boil it because I'm afraid that it would be too strong and then make your sugar level drop too quickly. So I put it in a pot and I pour the hot water in it and let it sip, and then I drink it. I also keep a bottle, my drinking water. I use a big the 5 liter, and I put cinnamon, garlic and everything in there, keep it in the fridge, and that's all I drink.
Okay. And it works.
And it works. The last 2 weeks, for some weird reason, my sugar level was ridiculous, like 260 something, and it started to come down slowly. And this morning, thank God, it was 151, which is still high, but much better than the 260s.
Sure is.
Yeah.
Well, this morning, mine, I'm happy to say, was about 140. And yesterday, it was 190.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, we're keeping an eye on things. Thanks a lot, my dear. Moringa. Don't forget to bring me some moringa.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And tonight, you're what's the name of the game?
Kaluki.
You're Kalukiing tonight?
Yes, so I'm going Trinidadian. What I tend to do is, when I am hosting, do a country like I do Belize, and tonight we have in Trinidad Shack and Bake.
Shack and Bake.
Yeah.
Sharon, St. Paul's. Okay, folks. Just before Georgie Porgy says goodbye, as always, I want to leave you with a parting word, something inspirational. And ask yourself, before you listen to this, ask yourself this question. Do you love God? If the answer is yes, here's what's in store for you. This comes from Psalm 91, verses 14, 15, and 16. I quote, "Because he loves me, says the Lord, I will rescue him. I will protect him, for he acknowledges my name. He will call on me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life, I will satisfy him and show him my salvation." Psalm 91, 14 to 16. So, just in case you answered no, but whether or not you love God, when I asked the question, give it a second thought. See some of the promises for those of us who love him. Pilgrims, on that note, Georgie Porgy's going to hightail it out of here. Thanking you so much for joining me this morning. And Margaret, of course. Hold on a minute here. Hold on a minute. Ryan says, boiled cold cinnamon water and okra. Watch out, hypoglycemic episodes when taking tablets too. He says, yes, Gigi, God is our rescue and salvation. Thanks for the interesting program. Okay, Ryan, thank you so much. Pilgrims, you have a wonderful day. And let me tell you, I'm not going to give you a name, but on Sunday morning, I am expecting somebody to be sitting in Sharon's chair there who is going to cause one big stir. One big stir. Tomorrow, I'll tell you the person's name. Make sure you join us Sunday morning for the next edition of SWGG, Sundays with George Grant, and of course, tomorrow morning for the final edition this week of Gudday Grenada. Ciao.